we just don't have like answers to where are we going to be staying for all of this? What's going to happen? Are we ever going to be able to come back to our community? Like, everybody's just so confused and lost, and we have not been able to process this. It's just a trauma, and we're in a shock, and we are all lost.
Southern California residents in shock after seeing their homes burned down. Governor Gavin Newsom vowing to cut the red tape. But California's strict environmental laws, it's tough. So what would that look like? I'm going to bring in Dan Dunmoyer. He's the president of the California Building and Industry Association. And Dan, that's something, I was out there I got there last Tuesday, left on Friday night. And that was one of the big issues. Obviously, people losing their insurance, their house insurance, just months ago on the eve of all of this. And then some of the caps on some of the insurance they were able to get won't be enough. And that's just part of the problem, isn't it?
Charles, you're right. We are definitely in a very tough situation here in California. The fires are still burning. We have an insurance crisis. We have a housing policy crisis. And so all this is coming to the forefront in the national scene that California is struggling as we try to deal with these horrific fires and the rebuild afterwards.
I'm just looking at a list of some of the regulations, the density restrictions, land use restrictions, construction permit fees, prevailing wage requirements, environmental regulations, local involvement in permitting, Proposition 13, impact fees. It's a wonder that anyone could even afford a home out there in the first place. Is this an opportunity, since the governor is de facto admitting that this red tape gets in the way, could this be an opportunity to turn the tide a little bit?
Yes, we think so. I mean, we're actually very pleased that this early in the process, while the fires are still burning, Governor Newsom came forward. He had two paths to take. One was, well, we're not going to rebuild. We're going to conserve this and not really come back the way we should. Or the other path is the path he did choose to take, which is, I'm going to take steps to remove those impediments. I'm going to take steps to bring California back, and we will rebuild these communities. Charles, you touched on it exactly right. We have, as the state of California, created more policy impediments, more fees, more delays, more regulations than any other state in the nation, red or blue, doesn't matter. We have unfortunately taken a path of bureaucracy overbuilding, and that's a big challenge for us in the great state of California.
What would you like to see done? Do you have a sort of a checklist in the urgency factor of the things that you would like to see done first?
Well, what the governor did on Sunday morning was very positive, and that dealt with this California Environmental Quality Act, the CEQA delay process, and then the Coastal Act. Those are two very positive things. But to the other part of the question, what we've learned is even when you remove those two impediments, local governments can still require you to get an issued permit to rebuild the identical home, which kind of blows our mind. Some states don't even require permits to build a brand new home in a new place. So the local government issue is the issue that concerns us the most. Will Los Angeles City get out of its way and let us rebuild? Can we rebuild Altadena? Can we rebuild the Palisades without having to go through months of delay?
Right.
So the city process. And then the last thing is, and that even though the governor's opened these doors, the challenge, having worked for Governor Schwarzenegger, is that you got to get your entire administration on board with the directive on top. And that's difficult when you have 245,000 people who can go their own direction. They've got to follow the governor's lead, and that's been a challenge for him. So we're hopeful they'll deliver on that promise.
Yeah, Dan, we're all hopeful, and this is such a tragedy that maybe this time it will change things, bring some common sense into the equation. Our prayers are with everyone out there. Thank you so much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.